Okay, so today I am going to show you how to make edits in a song in Ableton. So we're going to start by opening up, again, this is Amazing Grace. And, all right, I'm going to open it up. All right, so here's the song, here's the layout that we have made. Here's the MP3 we added in our last video. And now let's say we want to edit this. This is a tough one because there's not really much that you would really want to edit out of this song. But just, for, this video's sake, I'm going to show you. Let's say that we want to repeat the intro more than once. It's just too short and we need it again. So we'll start there. So we have our little markers up here so we know, all right, this is where the intro, let me actually make sure that the only thing playing right now is this and these two. All right, so first, we want to figure out where we want to edit it. All right, so the intro starts here at 3 on this marker. And the intro ends at 11. Okay, so let's say that we just wanted to do that intro more than once. Someone sang a scripture, whatever it may be, the reason may be. What we're going to do is I'm going to go all the way to the top here. Let me open this. So we know it ends at 11. Obviously, the guide says verse there, so we would want to change that. But first and foremost, I am going to hit Shift and move over all the way to the 3, or you could also just use your mouse and drag it, but I like to use these little hacks, I say. So I'm going to go all the way down here. I'm going to copy this entire part right here, Command copy. And so this is where the intro starts. Okay, so I want to go to 11 because I want it to repeat right at this point. So I'm going to hit edit, and then I am going to paste time. I don't want to paste because then it will cut the verse. I want the verse after we repeat the intro. So paste time right here. Okay, now this looks all weird, obviously, because we need to adjust some things, but let's see how this sounds. All right, so ignore the fact that the guide says verse. We're just listening to, I'm actually going to mute this and I'm going to turn on the tracks right now so that we can hear how this flows. So. Perfect. So it doesn't sound bad. It meshes really well. If anything, you can always go in and if that didn't sound right, kind of edit some things there, but we won't talk about that quite yet. So what we're going to do here is we obviously want this to say intro, not verse. Well, over here, this says 1, right? It doesn't even say intro.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So if this is the case and you want to add something, you're just going to go over here and search for intro. We have a whole album here called English Guides for Tracks, and it says intro right here. So
intro.
So I'm just going to grab this and I'm going to drag it over here, and voila. Okay, now it still says the end of verse, so you're just going to cut this part. Make sure that this is okay, and it says intro. So then obviously this is fine because this is where the verse starts. So and that's just, normally where that would have started anyways. So now we have added another intro. Let's just go ahead and take this tempo track because we cut pieces, so it's going to be in pieces. So we're just going to move that all the way there. We are going to, if this is where it says intro, we want the marker to start there. So that's where it starts, right there. Yep. And then we're going to move, is this where it starts? Yeah. Then we're just going to move this, so it's one marker that starts right there. Okay. So rarely do we add. Most of the time here at Oak Ridge, we are taking away because, we typically pick songs that are super long. Of course, I picked a song that was super short to give this example. But all right, so let's say we added an intro. All right, that's all we want to do. Sounds great. I'm going to save this. You know, like that's the only thing we wanted to do. We didn't want to cut anything. We just wanted to add an extra intro. We're done. I'm going to save this as save live set. You always want to save live set as if you are, sorry, kind of sounded like a custom. Save live set as if you are saving it differently than just the original version. So the original version was just, this is Amazing Grace, B flat. This one I would probably put over here, this is Amazing Grace, extended intro. But really, as long as you know how to find it, if you said extra intro, you know, it doesn't matter. Just as you save it as a new set. So I'm going to hit save. And now when I'm going to look for, this is Amazing Grace, in this folder, double tap that. All right, I can pull up the regular version, which is just this Amazing Grace dash B flat, or the one with the extended intro. Now let's say, okay, this is Amazing Grace. Now I'm going to show you how to cut things out. So we added an intro in the other one. This one, let's say, okay, this is way too long. We don't like that this bridge repeats twice. We only want to do it once. So it really depends on the song where you want to cut pieces out. So like for me, let's see. Let's just see how this first bridge sounds in comparison to the second bridge. So
Bridge.
Okay. So it's pretty soft. I'm gonna open this up. As you can see, obviously the second bridge is going to build a lot. Okay, so it really just depends. If you're setting up the Ableton track, obviously you can just tell people like, this is where I want us to build, but I like to actually cut things exactly where I see fit. So instead of just saying, all right, let's just cut this whole bridge out and, you know, cutting the time there, I am going to cut in the middle because I want, you know, the drums to maybe come in the middle. So, all right, so we're going to listen. So the middle would be about, I think, here. Okay, so like, all right, this feels like, here's the middle. We're going to make sure that this is the right point. Conquered the grave. All right. Conquered the grave. So I'm going to go from, let's see, 78 over to 85 here. I'm going to highlight all of this because it's going to land in the same spot. I hope this is making sense. And we're just going to hit cut time. Cut time. All right. So we can listen to this. It might be funky. If it is, we'll fix it. Let's put all these tracks in here and see if we maybe need to fade tracks in or out a certain way. So, all right. Here's the bridge now that we cut it into just one.
Bridge.
Actually, I don't know if I cut that at the right place. Let me see. Solo. Nope, I did not. Okay, so this is how not to do it. Okay, this is why you have to check your stuff. I thought it said conquered the grave here. Nope. Okay. Okay, so that was my bad. So clearly, it's 86. So I think it was 77. Nope. Okay, so 78 to 86. My goodness. So see, we're doing this together. I make mistakes literally all the time. All right, so let's listen to this and make sure that it's right before. So I just have this solo to make sure that it's actually landing in the right spot. All right, so now let's listen to it. I'm gonna cut the MP3 out or just like uncheck it and just listen to it with the tracks to see what we would maybe need to adjust. So
Bridge.
Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain.
Breakdown. Chorus. All in.
Okay, so obviously that is not a very smooth transition. So drums, good. Bass. Okay, so as you can see, it kind of just comes in like harshly from nothing to bam. also conquered the grave is like the middle of, the middle of the sentence. So, all right, so I would probably make that come in at worthy because that would make the most sense as that next like line. So if you didn't see what I did, you can just kind of drag the track. So then it would come in at worthy. So worthy is the lamb who was slain. So it's not in the middle of a sentence. And this acoustic guitar, probably same thing. It's very light and then it comes in heavy. So let's hear. I actually don't have a problem with that. So I'd probably leave that the same. Electric one. Yeah. See, it's coming in very harshly at Conquered the Grave, which is awkward. Oh, not harshly. Incredibly quiet. Well, I can barely hear it because my computer, my left speaker's busted. So it's probably shifted left. So I'm going to move that where the bass did, but I'm going to fade it a little, meaning so it's starting to come in little by little here, and it comes in full at the next line, worthy. So there we go. So it has a little fade there. Then I'm going to go to Electric 2 and see how that sounds, which that's one's going to be very harsh. So we're going to do the same thing. We want to fade it. So these little boxes here, if I just go like this, I'm just dragging it to start at, that part. But if I just grab this box and just kind of fade it, sometimes it sounds okay. Sometimes you need it to only start here and not fade, but let's hear how this fade sounds. Okay, I like the way that sounds personally, so I would probably leave it. As band leader or whoever is running Ableton, I would leave that up to you for your discretion. So let's listen to those keys, see if it sounds okay. Oh yeah, that's not good. So I, again, would fade that. Let it just slowly kind of build up to it. So sounds a lot better when it builds up. BGVs, unless you're actually using these for a purpose, like, sometimes we leave BGVs in there, but, slaying. I wouldn't do anything with it. Unless you're, like, using it and you don't like the way that sounds and you, like, sounds the same to me, really. But, yeah, unless I was planning to leave that in, I would just not really mess with the background vocals. So now let's listen with all the tracks to make sure that they sound okay from the top.
Bridge.
2, 3, 4. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain.
Breakdown.
Worthy is the King.
Chorus.
Oops.
All in.
I messed up the words, but other than that, all right, to me, it's like, it was okay. Obviously the drums won't be in there. So, so that's a pretty smooth transition. Okay. So in all this just to cut one bridge. Also, let's go back. Like I did in the last one, we added, when you cut or add something, it's going to, separate this track. So I just want this to all be one track, tempo track here, and then I want this to be one marker. So we just have one bridge. It starts here.
Bridge.
And that's it. So if that's all we wanted to do was cut that bridge, then perfect. Then we're going to save that as, maybe just shortened. I want to save live set as This Is Amazing Grace, and I'm going to save it as shortened. Okay, B flat. Save. There we go. So that is tips and tricks on, adding segments in a song or cutting segments in a song.